Hi, this is Jason from Horrific Nightmares, and it's time for a positive spin. Today we're going to be talking about I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, of course, this is in preparation for the new I Know What You Did movie coming out. We decided to um, return to this one. I guess that's a good way to speak on it. Now, I have a big history with this film. This one gets a 4.8, I believe, on IMDb, and I think that that's really low. However, my history with this film is a little different. Now, I went to see the first one in the theaters, and I loved it. Thought it was great. I know a lot of people don't feel that way now. Even the first one doesn't get what I believe it deserves on IMDb. I think it has like maybe a 5.6 or something, or 5.8. To me, that's low for a really well made film. And this one, like I said, it gets a 4.8. And I don't understand. Now, let me admit something to you guys. Like I said, my history with this is sordid. I saw the first one in the theaters, loved it. I rented this as soon as it came out because I was so excited for the sequel. I did not see it in the theaters. I was going through stuff at the time, and I didn't really have a chance to go. I did not like this movie. I didn't. Wasn't really sure what I expected. I just didn't care for it. And I don't really remember why. I just remember not liking it. So, of course, I had the first one and still do have the first one in my collection. The second one I ended up not grabbing until years later when I was at a yard sale, which ended up with this copy right here. I also have the triple pack, which is the three together, that has, of course, the first three. And I have them all individually. And years later, when I did pick this up and I watched it, I was kind of bewildered after I watched it why I didn't like it in the first place. Because I actually really enjoyed it this time. Maybe it's because I expected it to be almost like a carbon copy of the first one. And even that doesn't make complete sense to me because you still have Julie James, Jennifer Love Hewitt. You still have the killer. Like I said, I don't like to give things away, but you still have the same killer. You still have Ray. Um, but then you have new characters. I remember Jack Black getting on my nerves. Now he makes me laugh because I know a little bit more about his acting style. And for him to be able to play all these different stupid, silly characters kind of makes me laugh now. And I kind of always liked him in a way. I always thought he was a fun actor to watch. So let's put a positive spin on I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, this started out in a different way than it ended up. It did not end, the first one ended, and then the second one began in a completely different way, not how the first one ended. And I think that was one of the things that bothered me originally. But I kind of let that go and just took the movie for what it had to offer. Going to go through the positives here. One of the big positives is the island setting, because not only are you there when there are people there, because it's getting towards the end of the season, but you're also there when the place is closing up. So you have that sense of isolation where there's only a limited number of staff there to kind of cater to these people and the four people who won this so-called contest, because that's how they ended up in this island. It was a quickie getaway. And I thought that it was an interesting idea for the film. I liked that setting a lot. And then, with it being an island and being sunny, I liked the setting even more when it turned into a torrential downpour and it being like hurricane season. Because I remember my family going to the Outer Banks my wife, me, and my daughter, and my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, and their kids. And sometimes we pick the wrong time to go. Now, I can kind of relate to it better now than I could when I first saw the movie. So maybe that had a little bit to do with why I didn't like it at first. But yeah. Another big positive is the cast. You have um, Jennifer Love Hewitt, you have Freddie Prinze Jr., you have Jack Black. Like him or dislike him, I think he's funny in this. You have Mekhi Phifer. You have Brandy, who I'm not a big fan of, but she works in this film, for the most part. You have Jeffrey Combs, and the list just goes on and on. They really casted this movie incredibly well. Um, like I said, other than Brandy, I'm down with the entire cast. And even she, did okay. I like the scene in the dance club in the beginning when they're tormenting her. I don't want to give away the ending, but the killer torments her, of course, before she goes to the island and after she's on the island. And when they're on the island and the place is kind of closing down, you have that part where they're doing karaoke. That's a huge positive too, because it's just a really neat scene and a good way to get the message across. I still know, which I thought was very, very clever. You have an ample amount of gore and quite a few kills for it being such an isolated setting. Um, I like the story with Ray, how he was trying to get there throughout the entire movie. He also, him and his friend are in the truck, and that friend was actually in Scary Movie, not the comedy Scary Movie, but the Scary Movie, the Halloween movie that was about the carnival scare. It's a great movie. Trying to think of who put it out. I'm sure I will later after this video. But I thought that I like him in the film as well, even though he's not in it that much. Um, like I said, Ray's story is really good. The characters are great. Some of the kills are cut, like a cut screen, and I get it because you have to contend with the MPAA, um, which everyone has to contend with that. But all in all, some of the kills are very brutal, and also I think the reveal is pretty awesome. Like I said, I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't seen it. This is a good movie, I think, to go back and revisit in the summertime. If you've seen it and you didn't particularly care for it, give it another try. Like myself, you might grow to really enjoy this film, and I do really enjoy this film now. Um, Sometimes movies hit you when you're feeling different. If something happens, if you're tired, if you really don't feel like watching a movie, but you're forcing yourself to watch it. Sometimes movies hit you different in different times. So that's why any movie that I don't like, I try to give another chance to. And there are movies that I really liked that the second time I didn't like them as much. So it works both ways. So check out I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, or don't. But don't forget to check out Joe's positive spin for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Remember, guys, physical media matters. And until next time, peace.